Today we are here to enlist the public's help to identify potential victims of what we believe to be a sinister and far-reaching romance scam.
This is a very unusual episode of Prime Crime because we've been asked by the FBI to participate in an ongoing investigation, which is extremely rare. But this case is so extraordinary that they're asking for your help to bring this alleged perpetrator to justice.
Federal authorities say 43-year-old Aurora Phelps from Las Vegas targeted and drugged older men with dangerous amounts of sedatives. She then stole whatever she could.
Aurora Phelps is accused of running an international dating scheme that turned deadly.
I don't know if there's a better way to describe it than a romance scam on steroids. I mean, it really is.
After she got what she wanted, their assets, we believe she killed some of these subjects.
Someone could argue that she is a serial killer.
So far, the FBI knows of 11 victims, but there may be more.
She is truly a predator without.
What began as a missing person case has now evolved into something far more sinister. That's not commentary. That's the official statement from the FBI's Las Vegas field office. Read it again. A missing person evolved far more sinister. The gap between those words contains everything you need to know about this case. It's the distance between a man who simply stopped answering his phone and a woman federal authorities now describe as a predator without comparison. Picture a door left cracked open in a Las Vegas neighborhood. A dog barking behind it for days with no one coming. Inside, a stack of old driver's licenses on a desk. A laptop still running. A life interrupted mid-sentence. That image, that single cracked door, is the visual anchor for everything that follows. Because when investigators walked through it, they didn't find a missing man. They found the entrance to a labyrinth.
The neighbor had just gone over there because the door was cracked open and they hadn't seen his car there for a few days and they noticed his dog was barking. He would never leave his dog even overnight without somebody taking care of it. So, yeah, it was very concerning. So within 2 weeks, I went to Las Vegas. I got into the house and, we knew something was wrong. There was a stack of old driver's licenses on his desk and his laptop was on the desk. I took the laptop home with me and was able to get into it and access his email, which already had all kinds of purchases being made that were odd.
The family did see these fraudulent charges and purchases of Dior and other things like, hey, my father would never buy these things. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, I had worked with a detective over there before, and he called me and said, hey, Zach, I have this case. I've done everything I can do with it. Can you help us out? I knew at that moment something more was going on.
In or around December 2022, we opened an investigation.
We were still.
Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to be on the Gavel file, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. The FBI has now unsealed a 21-count federal indictment against 44-year-old Aurora Phelps. The charges read like a greatest hits of financial predation, wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, identity theft, and then, buried in the middle of the list, 2 counts of kidnapping, one of which is kidnapping resulting in death. Translated into plain English, the government is alleging something very specific. She didn't just steal from these men, she took everything, then she took their lives. Here is what the public record confirms. Phelps targeted older American men, many retired, several living as expats in Mexico. She met them through dating applications. She drugged them with sedatives. She gained access to their accounts. And then, according to federal authorities, when the money was gone, the men began to disappear. She was hunting them across borders. That's not rhetorical flourish. That's the travel itinerary contained in the evidence. Las Vegas to Tijuana, Guadalajara to Mexico City. A wheelchair pushed through a border-crossing tunnel, an elderly man who didn't look like himself being moved like luggage.
By John Weens, although turns out he was the last known victim of Aurora Phelps. His son Mike tells a spine-chilling tale of what happened to his dad after he seemingly disappeared.
Police, in Las Vegas were, trying to communicate with my dad, and they were texting back and forth, and those were obviously not him. She was pretending to be him, and even saying that he was going to be on a flight coming home at a certain time and date, and I think Las Vegas PD was there at the airport and no one showed up.
But police do find footage of John Weens at the Las Vegas airport, except he's apparently headed to Mexico. And his son Mike finds that very strange.
He wasn't dressed the way you would dress to go on a trip, okay? He was just in some old sweats, and he didn't have his glasses. When he got off the plane, the footage showed him in a wheelchair. The fact that he was in a wheelchair was huge, that was not something that should have been happening. He was in such a state that he had to be wheelchaired off the plane.
She did take him across the border in a wheelchair to the Tijuana airport through the tunnel that crosses the border.
You look at it from an outsider's perspective, and you see, well, here's a female with an older gentleman crossing the border in a wheelchair. Like, maybe that doesn't seem that odd. I mean, if you look at the age range, not everybody's going to second guess what potentially looks like the daughter of a gentleman, pushing her in a wheelchair. So it doesn't bring a whole lot of scrutiny from an onlooker to be like, okay, there's something there, I need to make a call.
Apparently, the plan was for them to check into a hotel out in Mexico City.
Prior to him checking into the hotel, he sounded very muted or disorientated. They know the hotel that they checked into, and that's where he passed away, at that hotel, and he was found in the bathtub. He had passed away within days of being kidnapped.
Can you imagine someone who would drug a victim, put him in a wheelchair?
And here the official narrative collides with what actually happened. Aurora Phelps maintained a public persona as a social media influencer. She posted unboxing videos, designer handbags, high-end merchandise. The federal complaint now reveals those luxury items were purchased with credit cards belonging to men who were already dead. A gold coin shipped to her Las Vegas address was ordered on the account of a victim whose body hadn't even been found yet. The prosecution's timeline shows purchases occurring after dates of death. That's not a coincidence. That's a signature.
As influencing became a thing, I could see on social media, she had some accounts where she would do unboxing videos with high-end merchandise, where she would unbox, for example, a purse, a high-end purse, and show it off. And I believe she liked that feeling, not only of, hey, look what I have, look at this beautiful item, this expensive item I have, but also that spotlight of feeling important.
I think she felt like a superstar. At that moment, she's on top of the world. She's getting attention from people. She's on social media. She's showing us these expensive gifts that she's bought herself. That's like winning the lottery.
And maybe that explains those Dior purchases that suddenly appeared on John Weens' credit cards.
Purchases were being made and shipped right to her house, Aurora's house.
And as agents dig deeper, they find that Aurora used a number of different nicknames or aliases on social media.
You have Aurora Phelps, Aurora Alvarez, Aurora Flores, Velasco.
She was a pharmacy tech who understood sedatives, and she was a predator who understood loneliness. That is the damning phrase you need to hold on to. A predator who understood loneliness. The FBI has identified at least 4 deceased victims so far. One was found in a hotel bathtub in Mexico City. Another was located in a morgue as a John Doe, unidentified for over a year. A third was found deceased on his own bathroom floor. The common denominator in every file is the same woman, The same pattern and the same tragic vulnerability men who told their families they were sick and tired of being alone. A predator who understood loneliness. She didn't need a weapon. She needed a profile picture and the ability to listen.
Developed this alleged MO of preying on people for their money. Only this time, it wasn't a man she targeted.
She started in Arkansas with a female friend.
They had been friends for about 3 years leading up to that incident. I think it was just an opportunity that could be set up quickly to be able to gain some funds. She had met that lady in a hotel room and potentially drugged her.
We learned she had actually drugged her own friend in order to take her identity and steal some of her money.
The lady woke up from being unconscious alone in the hotel room to find her wallet gone, and then saw charges on her credit card.
Now, fortunately, in this case, that female didn't die, but again, it sort of opened up the door to like, what else has she done, where has she been, and how many other victims are there out there, whether they're alive or whether they're dead.
Was this kind of a test case for Aurora? Had she been able to pull off this small scam and realize there might be bigger fish to lure?
She started moving into the dating world and, using romance scams, if you will, to lure in gentlemen that have a lot more money than her former friend did. I think that's when she realized, okay, there's a lot more to this, and there's a lot more that I can gain by looking after victims like this.
Well, she got smarter about how to commit these crimes, how to get more and more money with each scam that she ran.
How many could she get away with, and how long could she do this? And what's the most amount of money I can get out of one person, and how do I expand upon that?
She found the piggy bank. These men who had steady incomes, either big savings accounts or pensions, Social Security in some cases, and she knew how to tap into that.
And as we began to find evidence that linked this one victim to multiple other victims, and it just continued to grow.
Now consider the national security dimension. This was not contained to one jurisdiction. Phelps allegedly operated across 3 countries, the United States, Mexico, and briefly, she claimed with plans to relocate a victim to Ecuador. She held dual citizenship. She exploited jurisdictional gaps that left local authorities unable to pursue leads across the border. One missing person report filed in California for a man who lived in Mexico went absolutely nowhere.
There's a whole community in Mexico of expats, and they're retired engineers and professionals who, weren't millionaires, but they had a solid savings and they have a solid pension and they can live very well down there. And they can have fun. They can hang out with other expats, but they also can cross paths with somebody like Aurora Phelps. And for some of these guys, well, that was a death sentence.
Aurora allegedly approached Bo on the dating app Tinder, going by the username Sisy.
He had went to the Hard Rock Hotel, because there's a restaurant there, to meet Aurora after meeting her through the dating application.
As with the other apparent victims, Bo's family tried to get in touch with him, and they couldn't, which was unusual.
Family who checks in often and also gets some financial support from him begin to notice, okay, 1, he's not communicating again. 2, the financial support's not coming through as it usually does. And the lack of response, or sometimes the response that doesn't seem like their loved one, throws up red flags.
In this case, Bo's son apparently receives this text message, written in broken English, where Bo claims that he's moving to Ecuador and to stop looking.
So the question becomes if one individual with a dating app and a pharmacy background can paralyze 3 separate law enforcement systems. What exactly are we looking at here? A crime spree or a structural blueprint that someone else is already reading? A predator who understood loneliness. And when investigators finally caught up with her, it wasn't because of the homicides. Aurora Phelps was first taken into custody on a warrant from Arkansas, an old fraud charge. She saw a judge, gave her reasons, and was released. She then boarded a bus, returned to Las Vegas, and within 24 hours was on a flight to Mexico. The FBI had to coordinate with legal attaches in Jalisco to have her arrested again on local robbery charges, just to get her off the streets. The procedural gap between her release and her rearrest is the space where more victims could have been buried.
Is dating back to her time in Arkansas.
Be careful with my hands.
All right, ma'am. Do you have any weapons on you?
No.
No needles, blades, anything like that? Ma'am, take a seat, please. We're going to HQ.
This is Aurora Phelps finally being taken into custody by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, not the FBI.
We'll be heading to HQ with a female in custody. Your hand hurts?
This part. Huh?
Spread your feet.
She was arrested on an Arkansas warrant, and because of that, she needed to be sent to Arkansas to see a judge on that warrant. When she was there, she saw a judge and gave reasons as to why she should be released. And at some point, she was released.
And that's because her charges were for fraud, not a homicide, charge or anything like that that would have potentially had her be detained.
She got out of jail in Arkansas, took a bus and came to Las Vegas. And she actually left about a day after that to Mexico. Took a flight, and we got notification that she was there, and we organized with the legal attaché in Mexico, who helped us coordinate with the local authorities to go arrest her for some crimes that she committed down in Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, Mexico. The charge is robbery, but it was related to our investigation.
Having her arrested in Mexico, not only do they get her off the streets and they can breathe easy as far as her victimizing other people, but the procedural rights of a defendant in the United States have not taken effect. They were making sure that they had everything organized and had their ducks in a row before they made a move.
Aurora was indicted federally on September 13th, 2023. She was indicted on 21 counts total. And in that indictment faces charges of wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, identity theft, and 2 charges of kidnapping, one of which is kidnapping resulting in death.
She has already been sentenced in Mexico to 37 years and 6 months for the death of Robert Erbach, a retired stagehand who worked with Muddy Waters and Pink Floyd. He went to dinner at the Hard Rock Hotel and never came home. His family waited over a year for answers. The FBI agent assigned to the case later told investigators he woke up from a dream hearing Erbach's voice saying 2 words, "Help me."
The case of Bo Erbach, who the FBI calls Victim 3, is almost literally keeping him up at night.
One night I woke up from having a dream of with Victim 3 telling me, help me, help me. I think everyone wrote off, well, we'll never find Victim 3's body, ever. And I guess that helped me hold on to hope that, no, there's something more here. We need to keep digging. About 1.5 years after the investigation started, we were able to locate his body in a morgue in Mexico. And it was incredible because Mexico doesn't hold on to all their bodies in a morgue all the time, and this was a John Doe to them, and we were able to find his body and return it to the family. It was very emotional.
Extradition proceedings will eventually bring Aurora Phelps back to Nevada to face the federal charges. If convicted on the kidnapping resulting in death count, she faces life in prison.
Aurora Phelps was sentenced in Mexico following her trial in the Robert Erbach case to 37 years, 6 months. My understanding is that Aurora is facing other proceedings in Jalisco, Mexico, relative to other crimes that she committed down there. The FBI has confirmed that when the proceedings are completed, that Aurora will be extradited. What is unclear is how extensive the proceedings will be against Aurora before the extradition takes place.
When she's extradited, she'll face the charges that are outlined in the federal indictment. So those 21 charges of fraud and kidnapping in the District of Nevada. She's looking at, in the United States, life in prison.
She's gonna hopefully spend the rest of her life in jail.
But the FBI has taken an unusual step. They have asked the public for help. They believe there are more victims. Men who haven't been found, families who still don't have answers, and some who may be too ashamed to come forward. That is the final, quiet tragedy here. The weapon worked because the victims were isolated, and the isolation persists even after the predator is behind bars.
The sweetheart swindle has been around since the dawn of time. These stories are as old as the Bible. But Aurora Phelps takes this to a whole different level. This case is remarkable for a couple of different reasons. One, how long she got away with this. Two, the fact that she was able to exploit these men at this level. And just the audacious nature. She doesn't care. She'll do anything to anyone to get what she wants.
She was an addict. She was addicted to the hunt, the thrill of the hunt, perhaps even more than what she was gaining from the hunt. And that's truly frightening.
That is why the FBI asked us to tell this story and why they're asking you to help them.
If this sounds similar to something your loved one went through or you yourself went through, please call the FBI with that information. We'd love to speak with you.
And there are some earmarks to look out for. First, the basic time frame should be from about 2019 to 2022.
Was there fraud on their bank accounts? Were there purchases that your loved one would have never made that are products that they would have never been interested in, like Dior and Chanel and other things? Some loved ones notice items being shipped to Las Vegas, even though they have no address in Las Vegas. Something that would be a red flag is, hey, my loved one had drugs in the system, but I know he doesn't do drugs. Or he was so drunk that he got in an accident. Well, he doesn't even drink.
If you're seeing something strange and it's giving you that little spidey tingle, you should probably just make a call, make a report.
The public is our eyes and our ears, and we can't do what we do without the public's cooperation. If you know anything about Aurora Phelps or this investigation.
Here's your call to research. Go to the Department of Justice press release dated February 2025 regarding the unsealing of United States versus Aurora Phelps. Read the list of aliases. Aurora Phelps, Aurora Alvarez, Aurora Flores, Velasco, Sisy, Boriyas, Borilora. Then scroll through the timeline of charges from 2019 to 2022. Ask yourself this question. Do any of those names or dates align with someone in your orbit who went silent, who missed a call they never would have missed, who seemed to vanish without a trace? If the answer gives you that small, cold hesitation, the FBI has a tip line waiting.
The charges being unsealed today relate to crimes Phelps is alleged to have committed against 4 male victims.
By February 2025, the FBI has learned so much information about possible other victims, they realize, my gosh, we have an incredible crime spree that this woman has pulled off. If we've found this many victims already, who knows how many others may be out there? At that point, a decision is made to do something unusual, and that is to have the indictment unsealed so that they can hold a press conference.
If this investigation matters to you, like this video, share it with someone who needs to see the faces behind the case files. Subscribe to be on the Gavel file and turn on notifications. The evidence doesn't stop. Neither do we.